What's going on, guys? Could you do me a favor and throw a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Throw me a quick thumbs up if you can hear me okay, guys. Sorry, I probably should have said comment that you can hear me okay. All right. I'm going to give it another minute or two here, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. Got a ton of questions, got a lot of feedback, and then I want to kind of give you guys a quick update as far as how I'm doing. Been down with COVID now for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. All right, is the video scrambled or can you guys see it okay? All right, cool. Thank you, Josiah. This is my first time going live. Let me know if you guys like this more than the pre-recorded versions. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hope everybody's doing good. It's been a little while. I think it's been about 3 weeks or so since I've been able to post last. But no, I ended up getting COVID, of course. And yeah, I was down for a solid 5 or so days. And then every one of our kids got it. Then my wife got it. And it's been an absolute nightmare. Just going through all of it and trying to recover and trying to get my shit together and back to work and everything else. So, but yeah, doing well, definitely feeling better every day, back to work. So that's good. Really dying to get it back out here and start working on the cars again. So, but appreciate all the comments, all the support, all the love from every one of you guys. It's been pretty awesome to do this. So, I have got a giant list of questions here, you guys, from Instagram, from YouTube and other places. So I'm going to go ahead and start burning through these questions. If you have any others, go ahead and drop them in the comment section there. And I promise you I'll get to every single one of you guys before we wrap up today. But first question, do you see the Charger build as building a new car or bringing the old car back to life? That's a really cool way of thinking about it. I think, I mentioned multiple times in a lot of the videos to you guys that, this car I think is really a roof with a title by the time I'm done with it. But, to be honest, I mean, I couldn't afford to go out and spend 60, 70 grand on a pristine restored example like how I wanted to. So figured I'd build my own. I'm too cheap to pay somebody else to do it and can learn some stuff along the way. And now the best part is that I can share a lot of that with you guys and hopefully help you with a lot of your builds too. But I definitely see it as bringing the car back to life. It's just got a cool story, a cool history to it. Granted, a lot of the car is still, is not going to be original, but there's still those, original pieces that are left there that definitely bring back a lot of the story. I always get excited and telling people just how I found the car and then how, the family and I think I mentioned it, but I found out later that the original owner of the car was actually a NASCAR driver back in like the 60s. And it's just really, really cool. He's since unfortunately passed away, so I won't be able to show him. But I'm excited to show the family once the car is brought back to life. What's your opinion on rebody versus keeping it original? Is it the same car? I absolutely think it's the same car. I think anybody that sees a 68 Charger rolling down the street, all they're going to be thinking about is how badass that car looks and not, I wonder if that's a completely original car. To me, it doesn't matter whatsoever. I've always wanted a 68 and, it won't make any difference in the world or hurt my feelings one bit. putting the car back on the road and driving it. So it doesn't bother me at all. Now, there are guys out there, especially when it comes to resale, that would probably be a bit leery from something like I've got, just with, it being mostly new sheet metal. Just, questioning the quality of the work, or, knowing that it's not an original numbers car, original metal car. But again, if that's your thing, that's cool, but it doesn't really matter to me. What's been the most difficult part of the build so far? None of it's really been that hard. I think a lot of it is just getting the courage to do it. I think that's been the toughest part. Just, trying to figure it all out in my mind. I've got it figured out and kind of the sequence that I wanted to go through the whole build. But I think a lot of it's just grabbing the grinding wheel and the welding torch and just going out and getting it done. Really up until I did the rear frame rails, I think, the most intimidating part by far has been cutting the car in half and welding on that 68 GTX front clip. But it turned out really, really nice. And, had I do it over again, I would have done it probably the exact same way. And it's definitely an easy and a whole lot cheaper way of doing that. Adding up all the sheet metal on the front of the car, you've got, $500 or so for frame rails each. Radiator support's about $400. Inner aprons about $350, and then you got all the brackets and all the other stuff. And it would have been a couple grand to get that done. And I bought that whole front clip from that GTX for like $300. So, and it was in really nice shape, rust free for the most part, and just took some work to kind of peel it back and get it to a state where then it could be welded onto the car. But the rear frame rail is another one. It's just super intimidating to do, but after it's over with, it's like, wow, I would definitely do that exactly the same way that I just did. With it going all in one piece, like I did in the back, it turned out really nice, and can't wait to wrap up the rest of the metal on the car. So let's see, stock or Resto Mod. So this car is definitely going to be Resto Modded. I don't have a lot of the original parts, to be honest with you. Most of them rotted straight into the ground. So I plan on replacing everything with new and more up-to-date stuff. So we're going to do a 4-link in the back. Probably going to do a Dana 60 rear end in the back as well. And then also going to do a full, Ride Tech tubular control setup and QA1 front K-frame underneath the front. So it's going to get the full treatment. I'm really excited about it. And I don't know, Resto Mod is just more my thing. Now, if this was like an RT, if this was a Hemi car or something like that, that's way out of my league, I would probably try to keep it as close to original as possible, just for that, from that standpoint. Will you be videoing the painting process, doing it yourself, or outsourcing? So I've painted a few cars. I have no problem painting it myself. Good thing I've got a good sized shop here that we can clear out, and I'm going to be setting up a paint booth here in the garage. But I do plan on showing you guys kind of the whole thing, stripping the car down to bare metal, epoxy. We're going to, do the whole thing. And I'm going to try to record the whole thing start to finish for you guys, just like I've done the rest of the car. Granted, that definitely takes, quite a bit of time to do it right. You could really sink, several hundred, if not several thousand hours into the body work on the car alone. But the good thing is, it's all brand new panels on the outside of the car. We're still going to reskin the doors. So once I do that, literally everything except for the hood will be brand new sheet metal on the outside of the car, the hood and the roof. But both of those are in really good shape. And it shouldn't be too bad to do at all. But I'm going to show you guys how to do that every step along the way. When you finish the car, are you going to be touring it around to events to show your followers? Will you show it to the original owners, show car or driver? I'm going to try as hard as I can to daily drive this thing. When I get done with it, I plan on driving the absolute shit out of this car, and I want a lot of people to see it. There's a ton of car shows here in Utah, and definitely plan on bringing it out to as many as I possibly can. A few people local have stopped by the house and seen the cars and whatnot, or they recognize the car even on the road trip out from Michigan out here when we moved out. So it's pretty cool to see the car getting recognized and stuff. And I'm excited to show you guys, so you can see the quality of the work. You can see the car in person, and watch future builds on the channel as well. But I do plan on driving the car a whole lot when it's done. Where can I find a charger like yours for the same price and condition? Guys, it's only been like a year and a half since I bought the car. But I tell you what, it is getting really, really hard to find a car, even in this condition, for a 68 to 70 Charger in decent shape. There are actually upcoming here really soon. If you guys would throw the date here, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but Mopar 5150, they've got like 30 cars for sale right now that are about to go up on for sale in Georgia. And it's everything from, old Mopars to all sorts of different stuff. But it's actually really, really reasonable price, like $6 to $8 for a Charger. Granted, it's going to look like a $6,000 Charger. Okay, probably not far off from what this car originally looked like. But they've got a lot coming up for sale here, literally within, I think, the next like 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're in the immediate market, check that out. I think that could be a good place to find them. But I found this car on Marketplace, and it's just one of those. I got really lucky. Woke up first thing in the morning, checked Facebook Marketplace, and it was the first thing that came up. And all the guy said in the listing when he posted the car was, "It's all there. Come get it." And he had 68 Charger on it, but the pictures of it look super rough. Those of you guys that follow me on Instagram have probably seen those, where it was just sitting in a field in Ohio for 38 years, I guess, in 78. So, but I was the very first person to call, the first person there. And that's really the best way to get one of these cars. I mean, unless you know somebody that's got them for sale. Those of you guys that are on the Facebook groups, there's a gentleman, he goes by the name of Joe King. Joe knows where every thing is and where every car is, or if he's probably got multiple Chargers. He's probably got about 20 Chargers, I think, right now. But a really good resource. And, I found that especially like the Charger community, there's actually a page called Charger Family. It's a really tight knit community for sure. Everybody wants to help each other out. And, that page has been really nice. And, if you post something, you're not going to get shit on by a bunch of people. Those people get kicked the hell out of the groups. So if you got genuine questions, you're trying to find cars, or if you're looking for a car for sale, Facebook Marketplace is always great. We don't really have Craigslist out here in Utah. We've got what we call KSL. It's kind of like Craigslist on steroids. But we've had a few Chargers come up locally here that people have sent me. But, again, even like, especially a roller like this is about to be here in a few weeks, you're probably going to spend like 20 to 25 grand on a clean roller with no parts. So, the days of finding these for $2,000 or $1,500 on Craigslist, I mean, sight unseen, if you can find one, buy it, honestly, in any condition. But they're starting to, that $10,000 to $15,000 range is really the floor for getting one of these cars. So that would be my best bet. But guys are getting harder and harder to find. So I would definitely, if you're looking for one, jump on it right now and buy them. They're not getting any cheaper. Those of you guys that watched the Mecum auction this last weekend saw some insane prices go for old Mopars and Cudas and different things. There's a few Daytonas also that went for crazy money. So now is definitely the time to jump on them if you can find them. Price of the build so far. So hopefully my wife's not watching this, but no, I think the car was $5,000, and then all the parts so far, sheet metal wise, if you were to price it out in a catalog, originally I thought I'd need about $13,000 in just sheet metal alone. And that's with me doing 100% of the work. And I've got hundreds of hours of fabrication time into the car. A lot of it taking out a lot of the old nasty shit and figuring out how it all goes back together. But, if I were to add it all up, it's probably closer to about 15,000 in sheet metal so far. And then, anything else, any motor stuff, anything like that would be additional. So this is what a $20 Charger looks like. So, but I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I mean, of course, buying a turnkey runner driver would be preferred, but, it's just not reality for a lot of us. So I prefer to buy them rough and make them the way that I want them. And again, I get to show you guys how to do, how to do it along the way. All right. So a couple more technical questions. The punch tool that I use, and why do I use a step bit? So I use the Eastwood punch flange tool. I think it costs like $60 or so to buy it. It's not too bad. And it sure makes really easy work, especially out of like perimeter plug welds. You can just punch them out along the way. I've used it on a lot of different things here with the car so far. Used it on floor pans. I've used it on the rockers. I used it on the mini tubs that we did on the car. But things like the floor pan, I like to put a little bit fatter, heavier plug welds on some things. Kind of like when I was welding like the frame supports in the rear, welding those solid, there's just some things that I'll look at a hole and be like, it needs to be a little bit bigger. So like with that rear seat pan that I just did, you guys saw, went through there, did the perimeter punches real fast. And that saves me a lot of time just in drill bits too, because now I can get it started. And then I just use the step up bit. And I think I go up to like a 3/8 or maybe even a 7/16 on some stuff, not too much. But yeah, I like to use that tool a lot. It saves a lot of time. And if you want those smaller holes, it's the perfect tool because you don't have to do any deburring either. It's a great little tool. All right. Will you be doing a Mustang for your next project? I tell you what, I thought there would be some Mustang tears in the comment section below, but from the last video in my coaching session with T-Bone, but actually received a lot of support for it, which is kind of funny. I'm not necessarily a Mustang hater, but I really hate Mustangs. Okay. I'm not a fan at all. I've got buddies that are hardcore Mustang guys. Now, if it were to be, let's say, a 68 fastback or something that's just out of the normal, then yeah, I would probably build it. Maybe Mach 1, something like that. But it'd have to be something just different. Not into coupes, not into especially late model Mustang stuff. It's just not my thing, never been my thing at all. So the chances of there ever being a Mustang project in the garage, pretty slim to none. But I will help you guys trailer them to scrap yards if you want. Rust proofing ideas. What paint system will you be doing on the bottom side of the car? So this is a really, really good question. And, these cars, you'll see a lot of them, especially from like the main body line right here down, just turned to absolute shit on the cars. They weren't the most, or best protected cars from the factory, we'll say. So you can pretty much guarantee, especially if you find a car from the Midwest, you're going to find that, they're rusted to shit on the lower sections of them. They all need, rockers, they need floors, they need frame rails in some cases. So what I will most likely be doing is that I'm going to get this car up onto a rotisserie. I'm going to blast it, clean up the whole thing, and then we're going to epoxy the entire car. I'd really like to lizard skin the entire car as well. And then we're going to use a rust preventative on the bottom side of it, just to kind of seal and encapsulate everything in there to prevent any sort of future water from intruding into the car. We want to make sure we do a really good job at seam sealing it too. So that way nothing works its way up into the wheel wells and on the inside of the car, especially to rust it out. But once we get to that point, I'll show you guys kind of all the system that I'll use and walk you through each step of that. But, if you're going to do this much work on one of these cars, you better build it to last. Okay. And so that's my plan with this, is to really go overboard on some things and to do it at least as good, if not better, than what the factory did originally. What are your upholstery plans using a professional? It's a good question. I'll probably end up doing most of it myself. I've never reupholstered seats before. I did attempt a convertible top on the Camaro and dicked it up bad, really bad. But later I did find out that I had to replace the front bow on it. It was going really, really good, but I guess with some of that stuff, it's just so damn tedious. The kit that I bought was a cheaper kit. And, come to find out when I called the upholstery shop and I said, I just didn't have any extra material. And I ended up, I put through my staple line across the rear bow in it. And, I ended up running out of material in the front. I didn't have enough to stretch it. So I wasted $500 on a DIY top. Now, actually, I take that back. I have reupholstered one set of seats before. I did accidentally hog ring my finger to the bottom of the seat, which took a little while to get off. I got frustrated and found somebody else to do that job. So, but yeah, most likely I'll be using a professional for that. Now, any sort of assembly, right, or doing headliner, can do that. Obviously, carpet, door panels, anything like that's pretty simple to do. But we'll see once we get to the seat portion of it and knocking out the interior. I've still got a little while to think about that one. All right, status of the drivetrain, and I see the comment section blowing up here asking questions about the motor and kind of what I'm doing. So I still have the 383 here in the garage. I have not had a chance to get it to the machine shop yet. I know I told you guys I'd be taking it a couple weeks ago, just haven't found the time to do it yet. Now I have taken pictures of the block and sent it to our local machine shop here called Jensen Automotive. And the gentleman that saw it took one look at it and he's like, oh yeah, we can clean that up, no problem. So, which I'm sure for any amount of money, you could clean up damn near anything. I'm very skeptical about the block, to be honest. And if it's going to cost me, $2,000, $3,000 to clean that thing up and to get everything taken out, Because if you guys remember, like the lifter bores are rusted absolute solid. So the lifters are rusted in, which they're pressing down onto the cam. You can't rotate it at all to get the cam out. Of course, the crank is locked up. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, to be honest with you. So I'm probably going to load it up, take it down there, and kind of give them a limit as far as, if you get above this threshold, just stop. Let's make a coffee table out of it, and I'll keep it here at the house. If that happens, I really want to go kind of, I say wild, and it's not that wild with the motor, but I'm, kind of torn. I can't stop looking at pictures and eBay auctions and reaching out to people that have 426 Hemis for sale. I would die to have a 426 Hemi in this car. If you have one, reach out to me, please. If it's a reasonable one, if you want to charge me 30 grand for it, then I'm not interested in it. But I would really love to put a 426 in this car. If I can't do that, I'm kind of torn between either doing a 392, dropout from like Cleveland Power and Performance. They sell some awesome stuff. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. But they sell literally, engines running on a pallet, and they sell Hellcat setups. They sell, 6.4 Hemi setups. They sell everything on there. But yeah, that would probably be the next bet. And if that just doesn't pan out, then there's always the option to go with a 440 into the car. So got a few different options. I want to see first what the status of that 383 is, see if we can save that. If not, then I'm going to be very, very open to the idea of putting an older or a new Hemi into this car. So suspension plans, I think I already mentioned it. We're going to do a 4-link and coilovers in the car, tubular control arms, and K-frame. Wheels and color. So this is the part where I get to share with you guys some exciting stuff. So if you have not done so yet, hop on Instagram right now, because I'm going to share with you guys a couple pictures of some renderings that a guy had reached out. He does some amazing work, and he went ahead and knocked out some renderings for me of the car. So I'll just tell you guys right now, overwhelmingly, F8 green won the contest. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I was really against painting it green. You guys can see the green that's on the car here. The original color that it was is kind of that pea green color. F8's a little bit darker. But yeah, so he went ahead and did a rendering it blows my mind, to be honest with you, that somebody can do it this good. But he went ahead and did that for us and threw some neat wheels on it, fixed the stance a little bit so it's not sitting up too high. But I'm going to share those with you guys right now on Instagram. So if you're not following me yet, hop on there, check it out. And I'm going to share this right now. So I'm going to also share with you guys too the name of the company that does this. If you guys remember back a few weeks ago, especially if you're on Facebook, you saw a Daytona, wing car Daytona, with like I think it was an RB26 motor in it, which is from like a Nissan Skyline or something like that, and it pissed everybody off. They're like, why would you ever put that in that car? And his work is so realistic that he actually took this car, and I told him what color I wanted. I told him I wanted some cool wheels on it. I wanted, pull the bumpers in a little bit. I want it lowered, and the dude did all of it. But his company is called Abimelec Design, ABIMELEC Design. You can reach out to him through Facebook. His rates are very, very, really good. But he does awesome work. So if you guys are building a car, you need some inspiration ideas. If you guys need just some general ideas of how different things would look, how wheels would look, he's really, really good. So I can see I'm getting a ton of comments on Instagram on that photo. So I think a few of you guys went there. So check it out. And for the rest of you, I'll share after this video here just a photo or two on YouTube of the color. So didn't seem to be a lot of love for the white, to be honest. I thought white looked badass on the car. But I think we might save the number 2 favorite color, which was red, for the next build, which I can't share it with you guys yet. I am so excited to share it with you, but yeah, so we might save it for a future build because I think that color is just badass, absolutely badass. All right, a couple more questions here, and then I'm going to work my way through the comment section. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in there. But price difference between parts on the GTO versus the Charger. I'll be honest with you guys. Now, I would say the Camaro, the GTO, and the Charger, rate them like that as far as price, and probably with coolness too. Okay, Camaro parts, in my opinion, dirt cheap compared to Charger parts. Okay, I've mentioned it before. I can get a pair of RS fenders for the Camaro for $400. One front fender on this car is like $750. Okay, so it'll definitely test your wallet and your bank account building one of these cars. I saw somebody threw in here $60,000 for to build a car. I would say that's pretty accurate, especially if you're going to build it yourself. Then you can probably do it for that. If you're going to pay somebody else, it's probably going to be a six-figure build, especially if you have to do that much work on it. But yeah, Camaro parts, very reasonable, very plentiful. The aftermarket support is huge. And a million different resources with forums and Facebook groups and different people that have already done it. And that was kind of my problem with the Camaro, to be honest. I was super into it. And then I got the Charger and it kind of took over my life. And so I've touched the car very little in a year and a half, 2 years. And yeah, it's about time to cut it loose. It's at a point where I've got to kind of spend money to make money on it. So I've had a few bites on people that are interested in it, but I might cut that one loose. GTO parts, depending on what they are more expensive. Now, the 64, 65 share a lot of the same common parts, but you'll notice the fenders are different, the grills are different, the headlights are different. A lot of differences. And then 66, 67 with the GTO, they kind of went to that wide, narrow front grille on it. So the 65 that I've got is really just a 1 year car. So it's pretty difficult to find parts for. Sorry. Now that part score that we pulled in really early, where I got like 4 grills and, I think 2 or 3 sets of fenders, like that was lifesaver. And I want to say I paid $6,000 for all those parts, and money well spent. They're hard to find. Like radiator supports for that car, impossible to find. And you're going to spend a ton of money, and I got 2 of them with that deal too. But I got sets of wheels, the brakes, the full suspension. I have all the parts to finish that car, with the exception of the rear quarters. Ordered those in August. Originally, they were projected for like September. Got delayed till November, and then in November I got a notification that, hey, now they're going to be February, and oh yeah, we're going to charge you $350 more if you still want these, because container prices have increased so much. So I don't know what port they're sitting off of right now on a boat, just costing me more and more money and more time, but they're sitting somewhere, and supposedly February they'll be here. And once I get those rear quarters on, we'll get that thing in here, get it buttoned back up, and then I'm probably actually going to do the body work on the GTO and the Charger at the same time, make my garage a mess once, and get them both through primer, get all the body work done on them, and hopefully get them painted here sometime this summer would be fantastic. But no, GTO parts, depending on what they are, can definitely be expensive as well. But I don't think the parts are more expensive than Charger parts. If I could build any car, what would it be? I've already told you guys, my absolute dream cars. I would love to build a Superbird or a Daytona. Even if it's a clone, I don't give a shit. It'll still look like a like a real car driving down the road. Everybody be looking at it. It'll get attention no matter where you pump gas, where you go out to eat. People don't care if they're clones or not when they see them going down the road. Would love to build one of those. Would love to build a CUDA. I'm in love with these cars, absolutely in love with these cars. And, there's definitely a few that are on what I would call the bucket list that I hope to one day build. And again, hopefully get to share that with you guys too. All right. I get asked the question all the time, what's my day job? How do I find time for the projects? Would you consider doing this full time? So as far as my day job goes, I work in manufacturing here in Utah. There's no big surprises there. But how do you find time for the projects? I think it's just matter of making time, guys. If you want to do it, you'll do it. I've got 4 kids, a very tolerant wife, and a father-in-law that's also living with us. So there's a lot going on, and getting pulled in a million directions all the time. And that's on top of the work stress and on top of everything else going on too. So I try to just chip it off little by little. A video that I'll make, I don't knock all that out start to finish, like 3 days straight, eating and sleeping, in the garage. I mean, I'm out here for a couple hours at a time, and spend the rest of the night with the family. Kids go to bed, maybe with the help of a little melatonin, but I still make it back out here at night. Okay. But no, I try to do a few hours a day when things are going really good. If not, I have to save that up for the weekends. I get out here early and just put in the time. And at the end of the week, the time definitely adds up, and the build just keeps moving forward. I will say too, making the videos has actually kept me very motivated, due to a lot of heat that I get for not coming out with videos enough. So you guys keep me out here quite a bit and keep me motivated out here. And yeah, that's definitely a big help too. But yeah, Mike, so just commented, I can see that you do this over a few days as your t-shirts change. So yeah, I let you in on a secret. If you see me wearing the same shirt for a couple days, I probably need a shower. So most of them take a few days. And in this case, I'm actually working on the deck filler right now, buttoning that up. And that one unfortunately is taking a few weeks due to COVID. But that's how you do it. It's just like going to school or finishing a degree or anything like that, guys, or anything that you want to do in life. I mean, it's just, if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. Okay. So who taught me how to weld, how to repair rust? As I mentioned earlier, guys, I'm too cheap to pay somebody else to do it. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I had a really good close friend of mine, Mr. Chuck, who lived here in Utah when I lived here previously. He helped me out on a lot with previous builds. We built a 240Z that had a small block swap in it. And we had to do floor pans. I think that was the very first, metal work that I'd ever done, but you just got to get out there and get started with something. I wouldn't say to go out and buy something like this as your very first car. If you're learning how to do metal work on cars, buy something cheap or that you can throw away, like a Mustang, and, put in some time and just make it work, and you'll get better in time. I promise. As I've said many times, I'm not the best welder in the world, but I'm absolutely badass with a grinder. So you'll get very good at grinding, and in time, you'll definitely get better at welding too. So I'm going to go ahead and burn through these comments here and answer your guys' questions. We got quite a bit here. When's the next video? I'm going to really try to get out here this weekend, and I've got the deck filler sitting right here and getting ready to weld that in. I did put a pretty big order in from AMD, and it's a lot of like little brackets and like little corner pieces for the back window. I didn't even realize they made those pieces, and I saw them for sale online. Didn't know what they went to or how to put them in or anything. And then once I peeled it back far enough, it's like, oh, that's where those go. So went ahead and I ordered a pair for both sides. We've got to rebuild the window channel still. But we do that, we get that deck filler in. You guys can see the trunk pan right there. That's all ready to go in too. So progress should be fast and furious once we get back out here. I think that shipment from AMD is supposed to be in Wednesday. So hopefully expect a video probably late next week, guys. What the machine shop say about the block? Again, still waiting to get it down there. I'm going to hopefully get it down here in the next week. Let's see what else we got. All right. What's up, Johnny? Johnny's Garage, one of the first people to give me a shout out when I first started off my YouTube channel. Check out his stuff. He's got a really sweet 69 General Lee that he built. And he does movie cars and different stuff like that. Really, really cool. Mustang. All right. How do I block people on here? I'm just kidding. 6-speed trans in the Charger or what? Yeah, would definitely like a 6-speed, especially if I go with a newer Hemi. But that would be excellent in the car. You ever thought about a 70 Roadrunner build with a 426 Hemi? I've thought about a lot of builds with a 426 Hemi. I'd love to do that. 70 Roadrunner built into a Superbird would be pretty badass. I'd love to do something like that, but I think this car would be absolutely badass with one of those in it too. Love the live chats. Can't wait for another video. Going to have a roller here in a couple weeks. So that's the plan. Hopefully we can get this thing on 4 wheels and yeah, move it around a little bit easier. Greetings from Ireland. Love the lines of that lady behind you. You guys are probably just wanting me to get the hell out of the way so you can see what we got. She's looking good. Sure breaks my heart not being able to work on it every day. Take the trash out to the garage some nights, especially when I was sick, and all I can do is stare at it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out here and work. I felt like total shit for a few days. Scott missed out on one for $3,500 on the marketplace. You guys got to be so quick on cars that are for that price. Either that or automatically assume that it's a scam. There'll be people that put them on there for $1,000 or $1,500. Try to get there in person. Sometimes you just can't do that, but just be really leery of people that are, selling them across the country. They want your money up front. Might not be worth it, guys. Check out Blueprint Engines in Kearney, Nebraska. So I've been to Kearney, Nebraska quite a few times, both for work and then also driving across the country. The Highway 80 runs through there. It's the sandhill crane capital of the world, in case you guys are looking or are into that. But Blueprint, I've actually put a Blueprint 383 into that red Corvette that we used to have. And that motor is still awesome. The owner, one of my best friends, Jake, actually lives directly next door to me now, so I'll get to hear it and see it almost every day. So, but that motor, so that car is a 77 Corvette. It's actually my grandfather's vet, is a L82. I think it came with a whopping 210 horsepower, and it was an absolute dog. So had a turbo 350 in it. You had to do about a $6,000 neutral drop to get it to crack the wheels open on it. It was really, really slow. But I went through Jegs because they have a facility here in Sparks, near Sparks, Nevada. So they had the best deal that I could get, most reasonable freight as well, and ended up buying the Blueprint 383 out of there. It's the 435 horse, I believe. And so that motor arrived at my house, I want to say at 1 in the afternoon. And that car comes oil pan to intake with a carburetor and a dyno sheet, timed, tuned, everything. And we had that motor in that car because all you have to do is switch over the accessories, throw the flywheel on the back. We dropped it in and we were doing burnouts by 6 p.m. that night. And it runs awesome. Right out of the box. I never even touched the timing on it. I breathed on the key and that thing just cracked over, and it sounds awesome. It has been absolutely awesome since we've had it. And we did that about 3 years ago. And like I said, definitely getting in a little bit of trouble with the neighbors with that car, because of course it's got side pipes with very small mufflers in them. But awesome company. I can't say enough about Blueprint. They make some really good stuff, and it's very affordable. I want to say that motor with everything out the door at the time was like $5,500 delivered or something like it. It wasn't that bad. You're going to spend a lot more than that in a machine shop and the time of putting it together. And like I said, 5 hours after it was offloaded off the truck, it was in the car running and doing burnouts, and really, really woke that car up. All right. Do not lower it. That totally ruins the stance on these cars that they were meant to have. Yeah, it's not really my style though. So I like to have it low, wide, and fast is my preference. Now, too low is definitely not that attractive to me. But I think a tasteful lowering looks really, really good on damn near any car. Not a Mopar fan. I really enjoy watching you restore classic muscle. Thanks, man. Let's see. Going to update the electrical and gauges. Yeah, most likely. A lot of the original harnesses that were in the Charger, especially, were in pretty bad shape. So I'll end up replacing those. Would love to do, have that original look on the interior. I love it in there, but we'll probably go to, Dakota Digital, make some really nice stuff. The electric gauges that look original, and I think that would look really, really nice in there. Following this build has given me the courage to attempt one of these Indiana salt cars. Joe Turner. So first off, that's the entire reason why I started this channel. It wasn't to get subscribers or followers. It was to help you guys and save more of these cars. So I'm humbled by that, and I really appreciate it, and good luck with your build. I'm going to go with original suspension or updating it. I mentioned we're going to update it. Already obtained a rear end? Not yet, but I know a guy. And that guy knows who he is. So I plan on chasing that down here pretty soon. If there aren't any cracks, the blocks should be salvageable. 383 black has a lot of meat and cylinder bores. definitely. Again, I'm not too worried about the cylinder bores, at least what I can see, just from the top side. Granted, I can't see where the piston is because you can't rotate the motor over. But the top of it cleaned up really good with just some steel wool, and it is a factory original bore in that. So figured it had been sitting since the 70s. But again, it was sitting in, about 2 feet of dirt with leaves and everything else, and just completely rotted out the whole thing. I'm really more concerned about the lifter bores and kind of what those look like and how they go about taking those out. And then, but again, they assured me that all you got to do is throw it in the shop painter and it'll look brand new. So that would be awesome. As long as it doesn't cost me $3,000 to clean up a bare block, then I think we might go ahead and reuse it. Wish I could restore a Charger here in Sweden. All the parts cost 115% more. Everything. Spend $50,000 in the USA, it'd be $115,000 there. Man, sorry to hear about that. I actually lived in England for about 5 years with the military, and I know what you mean. Unfortunately, all there was over there for classic cars was Mustangs and Corvettes. So it was not a place I wanted to live. I had to get the hell out of there. Not a Dodge guy, but loving the build. I was never really a Dodge guy. I mean, I love Chargers and stuff like that. Definitely not super into like the new stuff, from Dodge or Chrysler. But, I don't know if it gets any better than old Mopars as far as the overall looks, and the overall resale is pretty killer. Color stripe or no stripe, colored vinyl top. So if you guys are on Instagram, you guys will know the answer to that. If not, I'm looking at doing just black tail stripes on the back, and we're going to leave it the green. It's going to be a slick top just like it is now. Somebody asked a question on a previous video if the car originally had a vinyl top or what the original production numbers were on vinyl top cars. And I found out there were actually about 75% of all Chargers were vinyl top cars. So having it be a slick top is actually kind of a rare thing. So I love the look of black vinyl. I've seen white vinyl and even green vinyl look killer on these cars, but I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it slick like that. Can we get a shout out to Dave and Kayla watching in Australia, please? Love your work. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. People commenting from Sweden. Something that's really cool that I never realized, I guess, was the reach that some of these videos would have in the analytics. I can go in and see what countries where everybody is commenting from, and it would blow your mind to see that list. It's countries I've never even heard of all over the world, people watching this, and even some of the comments sometimes come in some really, different languages that I don't even know how to begin interpreting, but all that I can see is the word Charger with a few of those emojis. So I figured they must be saying something cool. All right. Burn Diggity from Arizona in Utah last week. Thanks for sharing your build. You're welcome. Johnny, I agree. Lowered look is best. 68 round taillights. That's why I bought mine. Absolutely. I think the back end of these cars looks absolutely killer. Sheet metal would be 33,000 in Sweden, so don't feel too bad. That's pretty rough. Product called Gibbs to loosen those lifters. I'm pretty sure I know the material that you're talking about. I use Marble Mystery Oil, and I just kept filling it up and filling it up and filling it up and cycling it through the motor, and it didn't do a damn thing. To be honest with you, I still couldn't pull a single one of the lifters out. They are rusted completely over the top. And unless I start chipping on stuff, which then typically leads to me getting frustrated and breaking shit. So I'm going to go ahead and let the professionals handle it and go ahead and do that. Great job on the live stream. You should do more. If you guys like these over the recorded ones, I'll definitely do them more. Maybe do like once every month or every other month or something like that. Build has come a long way. It really has. It's definitely come a long way here in the last year or so. Thanks for the motivation. The quarters will go back on for the first time next week. That's awesome, Colin. Just joined the live. Have you decided on a color? Again, I'll say it one more time. Hop on Instagram, and I just shared 3 pictures of the renderings that I got from Abimelech Design, and looks pretty cool. I think it'd look a lot cooler with a blower sticking out of the hood, but that's just my opinion. All right, one last question here. Just started on 58 Plymouth Belvedere. Give me hope. I can knock it out. Started a channel for the build and all. So Zach King, definitely check it out, man. It'd be cool to build a 58 Plymouth for sure. So yeah, T-Bone's not here. If you guys just heard somebody screaming inside, it's probably about time I go back in there. They're all feeling better, thankfully, from COVID, but need to check in. So it's been 45 minutes, and 100 of you plus have joined here over the last 45 minutes. So appreciate your guys' time, and hope you guys all stay healthy and keep doing well. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. We'll see you real soon.